Are you sick of all the fees and the hassle of having a checking account at a big bank? Check out our sponsor, Current, using the link below. I'll tell you more about them at the end of the video. So we've been tracking very closely this extraordinarily concerning authoritarian slide by Donald Trump, where he is now asserting to have absolute power over governors and over what governors tell businesses and schools within their states to do. The context is all reopening the economy from coronavirus. And Donald Trump signaling yesterday during his press briefing that there is somewhere between 20 and 29 states that he believes very soon, even before potentially the April 30th social distancing deadline, may be able to start to open up. There are states that have already said, we're not going to listen to Trump. We're going to do what our public health officials say. And Donald Trump has now asserted multiple times that he has absolute authority over the states. Here's one example from Monday's press briefing.
What you're trying
No,
to
not at all. Let me just tell you, very simple. I'm going to put it very simply. The President of the United States has the authority to do what the President has the authority to do, which is very powerful. The President of the United States calls the shots. If we weren't here for the states, you would have had a problem in this country like you've never seen before. We were here to back them up, and we've more than backed them up. We did a job that nobody ever thought was possible. It's a decision for the President of the United States. Now, with that being said, we're going to work with the states because it's very important. You have local governments. They're pinpointed. It's really, you talk about, it's like a microchip. They're pinpointed. We have local government that hopefully will do a good job. And if they don't do a good job, I'd step in so fast. But no, they can't do anything without the approval of the President of the United States.
Here's another specific question from another reporter, and Trump is just not backing down. He wants to be the authoritarian. He also wants to avoid responsibility when things go wrong, but he wants to be the authoritarian. Take a look.
Clarify your understanding of your authority vis-a-vis governors. Just to be very specific. For instance, if a governor issued a stay-at-home
When you
order,
say my authority, the President's authority, not mine, because it's not me. This is when somebody's the President of the United States, the authority is total. And that's the way it's got to be.
your authority is total.
It's total. It's total.
Your authority
And the
is
governors
total.
know that.
So if
The governors know that. Now, you have a couple of bands of excuse me. You have a couple.
Could you rescind that order?
You have a couple of bands of Democrat governors, but they will agree to it. They will agree to it. But the authority of the President of the United States having to do with the subject we're talking about is total.
And then lastly, here's CNN's Caitlin Collins pressing him and asking, where did you get this idea? Who told you that you have this absolute authority over governors? And has any governor said they agree that you have this authority?
Question about something you just said. You said when someone is president of the United States, their authority is total. That is not true.
Okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to write up papers on this. It's not going to be necessary because the governors need us one way or the other, because ultimately it comes with the federal government. That being said, we're getting along very well with the governors, and I feel very certain that there won't be a problem. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Has any governor agreed that you have the authority to decide when their state
I haven't
opens
asked
back up?
anybody because I don't. You know why? Because I don't have to. Go ahead, please.
But who told you the president has the total authority?
Enough, please.
Trump obviously not really giving an answer. So yesterday I told you it's not even clear that a governor can force a business to open. Like, can Charlie Baker here in Massachusetts go to my favorite sushi and Indian food restaurants and say, you have to open? I don't think that he can. So the idea that the president can force the governors to make businesses do those things is a joke. But now that we've had another 24 hours, the constitutional law experts have weighed in. And not only does Trump lack the powers he claims to have, the Constitution is actually very clear that he can't do what he says he is able to do. And both Republicans and Democrats who are thinking about this clearly seem to be on the same page. Here's Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney, the daughter of the diabolical former Vice President Dick Cheney. She tweeted that, quote, the federal government does not have absolute power. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. That's the 10th Amendment to the Constitution. Now, Trump frequently will mention federalism when he talks about why he has this absolute power. He'll say this often during the White House coronavirus press briefings. And he pretends to understand what it means. But federalism in practice tells us the president can tell state governors what to do, other than in the very specific areas outlined in the Constitution. Now, it is true that in times of emergency, presidents have tried to figure out how to boss governors around, but they failed to do it. During the Korean War, Harry Truman declared a national emergency, seized private steel mills, tried to preempt steel workers from striking, argued, the mills are essential to national defense. And the Supreme Court actually decided the other way in a case called Youngstown. It's Youngstown v. I forget the name of it, but it's Youngstown something. So this has been tested and it's not gone the federal government's way. Now, there's another important element. Trump never shut the country down. He just didn't do it. How can Trump reopen something he didn't close in the first place? Whether Trump could shut down the country by directing governors to do it is question one. Answer is, it doesn't seem that he can do it. But in practice, Trump never shut down states. Governors made decisions at different points in time, and it's up to governors to decide to reopen. What we have is a wannabe dictator on our hands. And sadly, when the Senate prejudged Trump's impeachment and decided we're acquitting him before the trial even started, they actually reinforced the notion that Trump can do anything. And Trump has said, Article 2 of the Constitution says I can do whatever I want. Trump may well believe this. He hasn't actually demonstrated it legally, but in practice, what consequences have there been? When Trump's not supposed to violate the emoluments clause, but he did it and there haven't been consequences. Trump has done it with no consequences the entire presidency. And this is why it's so important to remove this clown in November. The law is not on Trump's side here and in many other cases. The Constitution is not on Trump's side here and in many other cases. But he's been getting away with whatever he wants for more than 3 years at this point, and there have been no repercussions other than a few of his former friends having to go to prison for a few years. He has done damage as a result of being essentially immune to consequences, and he's just going to keep doing it until we remove him, if we do so in November. We'll talk a little later about Bernie's recent comments about this, former President Obama's recent comments about it. But in the meantime, let me know where you fall on this issue of Trump versus the governors, on who has the right, the power, the authority that Trump claims to have. I think it's pretty clear. Constitutional experts seem to think it's very clear. I'm on Twitter at @Pakman. Let me know what you think. We often talk about the many different ways that big banks take advantage of their customers. And one of our sponsors today is Current, which is an online bank for those of us who are sick of dealing with all of the fees and the nonsense from the big banks. I use Current myself. If you're watching this on YouTube, here's my actual Current debit card that I'm holding up. No minimum balance. They have 24/7 support, no overdraft fees up to $100, and it won't get declined. No ATM fees. You can use over 55,000 ATMs nationwide. And unlike other banks, you receive your direct deposits instantly, which means you'll get paid by your employer up to 2 days sooner. You can deposit checks instantly using your camera phone. And unlike other banks, Current instantly refunds the hold on your card from pumping gas. You can pause your debit card instantly, also really useful in many situations. There are just so many different advantages to ditching the big banks and instead use a bank that puts their members first. It takes 2 minutes to sign up. They'll immediately ship you your debit card for free. Go ahead and get started by clicking the link down below the video.